Hey guys, in this video I want to discuss the architecture of Giraffe Flow and how it unlocks an enterprise knowledge management, an organizational knowledge management in a way that's incredible. So the classic Giraffe is you can create an urban plan. So let's say we're going to shrink Hyde Park down and densify it, which I don't think would be a good idea, but for the sake of argument. So the classic Giraffe is you draw simple geometries and you give them usages, and then these usages drive your area analysis, and you can stretch and pull them, and you can make relatively complex urban form very, very quickly, and it's quite descriptive. It's good enough for a lot of use cases. It's good enough for a lot of use cases, and it looks and communicates itself very clearly and very simply. But there are times when you want to bring in a bit more detail, make it a bit more evocative, or do more precise analytics, more detailed analytics. And that's why we developed Flow. And Flow is just a generative tool. So, for example, say we don't like this park, we want to have some trees on it. I can use the Flow feature park with trees and draw that same park. And Flow automatically populates that park with trees. And it populates them with exactly 40 trees. So I could do 23 trees, I could do any number of trees, and I can change their layout. So you can see it's both prettier in the sense it communicates what this park would look like more exactly, although not realistically, and it's very precise. Like, I know exactly how many trees there are here. And so I just jumped in and grabbed flows from our standard library. So we've got apartments, we've got a swimming pool, we've got an avenue with a cycle path, which we could create, down Macquarie Street. There you go. So it comes with some road and some cycle path and some trees. But what's really exciting about flows, the way we've architected them, is that you're able to create your own and then leverage the design library to bring them in. So I'll show you what that means. I've got a project called Facade 2 where I store a very simple facade. And I'm going to just bring that project, one of these geometries in, which is this building, and you can see it there. Now, when I bring that building in, I bring in the geometry, like I bring in this red line, and I bring in the flow, as in the logical recipe that takes this simple red line and converts it into this geometry. Okay? So you can see if I open the flow builder, that is the logic. I'm taking the feature, I'm dashing in, I'm offsetting polygons, I'm building grids, I'm doing all sorts of things. And I'm doing that on one project, and now I'm bringing it into another project, and I'm able to modify. I've brought that logic in, and now I'm able to modify it. So in the mullions, you can see the initial spacing is 1-1 glazing to solid. So I can make that 1-3 solid to glazing, right? And maybe that's a more appropriate breakdown for my use over here. And I've got, I can access any other project I've done. Like, I've done a social housing project, and I'm going to bring in this building and add this building to the project, and then I'm going to drag it to where I want it. And it's kind of like this nice eco, green roof, solar panels, and I can edit that geometry, and I can edit that flow. So maybe there needs to be more solid. Like white, it's right on the road, so we can go to the wall. Again, on the stroke dash, it's currently 7 glazing and balcony to 1 wall, so make it 7-3, or maybe even 5-3. And I get a building with a slightly different character, but still substantially the same. And that's come from another project. So now we're looking at a project which is raw, as in I've just drawn geometries and assigned usages. I've used this park, which is from the Giraffe library, as in just our standard flows. And then I've dived into my design library, and I've pulled flows from 2 other projects. And then I've modified those flows to be suitable for the project I'm working on. And so you can see how you can use template projects, or, if you don't even bother using template projects, if you actually get some real work done, like you do a real project, that project is now available for you to use all the time in future. And it's not just available. I mean, you could say that about anything, whether you've done it in SketchUp or Rhino or Revit or whatever. but it's actually findable, it's discoverable, because it's all in the cloud. You open your design library, as long as you remember the name of that project, then you can just grab that stuff and you can bring it in. And so we're now at 5 minutes, 11 seconds, and we are, I'm just going to put this canscape, let's get a landscape, and we're at the point where we've got this like really, detailed scheme. I wouldn't call it a good scheme or a bad scheme, but there's lots and lots of geometries here, lots and lots of descriptive power about what's going on. And if you were to communicate this scheme, you would be able to do so very precisely and gain great feedback. And the only way I've been able to do that is I've leveraged Giraffe's elegant interface, so this intuitive interface, but I've also leveraged the design library and accessing these flows, these little recipes that are attached to geometries in such a way that I'm snowballing the past. All the effort that I've ever done, I'm now able to access easily and apply it to a new situation. And in future, if I wanted to use this project, I could do the same thing. So I could group this stuff and call this, 4-building courtyard. And now I can grab that group in any project I ever do, if it's something that I think bears repeating. So this is a fantastic way of organizing knowledge across time and across an organization, because you can access projects that other people do too, obviously.